Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's May 19th, 2026. We're very glad you're with us this afternoon. Please note this event will be recorded. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For everybody who's on Zoom, feel free to open up the chat window, put in your name, the position you're looking for. Give us 2 or 3 target companies we may be able to help you with. And then if you have companies that you have connections and you can help somebody else, please go ahead and list those. Give us your email and your LinkedIn address, your phone and city if you'd like. This is a great way to connect with everybody else who's on the call today. You never know who is out there who can help you in your job search. So feel free to save the chat at the end of the session and go back and connect with everybody else who's on the call today. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon. If you see me in person, I always have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. The group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007 when the prior leader landed a job. And I'll tell you about our upcoming program. We have a really good speaker coming up this Friday, and I'll tell you about that at the end of the session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team, also known as the PIT crew. Don't wait until you have an interview scheduled to schedule an interview. Schedule in a practice interview now. They like to say practice early, practice often, and get some interviewing experience so when they call you up, you're ready to go. For more information, just go to dallaspitcrew.com. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She works for Lee Heck Harrison. She works with job seekers on a daily basis. And today she's going to talk about LinkedIn tools for job seekers. So Ruth, thank you very much for being here, and it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much. We are going to be talking about the tools that LinkedIn has available to people who are doing their searches. But before we get into that, we'd really like to say that the 4 speakers that Jeff has chosen here are all exceptionally good. They have different types of information that they're going to provide. Most of it is going to be consistently across all 4 of us. Occasionally, there will be differences of opinion, and we will always tell you why one of us feels that this is a better way to do it versus the other. So ask questions as you go along. You can either unmute yourself or you can put the question in the chat feature, and Jeff will consolidate things when we get to a reasonable spot. So let's talk about what LinkedIn is doing to help you. And the first thing you need to know is that when a recruiter does a search, here's what LinkedIn gives them. The basic search for a recruiter is quite often going to be providing a title, possibly a geographic location, putting in a couple of skills. When a recruiter does that, there is a massive number of people who fit that. And in this case, the recruiter was looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area, looking for skills in business strategy and analytics. And up came 42,798 different candidates who have some sort of a match to that basic search of 3 items. Well, that's way too many to be looking through. So LinkedIn, along with the recruiters who use this, came up with some spotlight features. And the spotlight features allow the recruiter to filter down to the people who are probably going to be most likely to respond to a request for an interview and be willing to go into the next steps. So spotlight features, open to work. Company connections. Do you have someone in that company as a first degree connection? Have you indicated that you're interested in the company? And are you active on LinkedIn? All of those are going to be important, but LinkedIn is going to take all of that information and create one big long list for the recruiter to look at. Now, in this case, Emily came up number 1, Channing 2, Aubrey 3. LinkedIn never does anything randomly. There is a reason why these people came up number 1, 2, 3 out of a total of nearly 43,000 people who are eligible for this list. LinkedIn is going to look at the resume, look at what the recruiter is searching for, and is going to manipulate the list so the people who are the best choices, according to LinkedIn, are going to be at the top. Your goal is to be in the top 100 of any list that a recruiter pulls that you would be eligible for. You're never going to know if you made that, but if you are being contacted by recruiters, that's a real good sign. So notice how little information LinkedIn gives a recruiter. Okay, got the headshot, got the name, pretty much the headline, the geographic location, and 1 or 2 of the previous titles that this person has held. The recruiter is going to have to make a decision as to who they're going to look at more closely based on this tiny piece of information. So we're going to try and increase our ability to gain the recruiter's interest. Within our talks today, we're going to be talking about each section that the recruiter is looking at and how we can maximize recruiter interest. We'll be talking about that top section that's got the headline, the titles, the verification feature. We're going to be talking about the skills that you're adding throughout the profile, both the technical skills and your soft skills, your managerial skills. And we'll talk about how the Spotlight features are utilizing this information to be able to bring you to the top of a list. So you notice how little information was being given to you? Well, the headline is really important. You've got 220 characters to tell the recruiter something about yourself that they want to hear and that is going to make them more interested in talking to you. If you are someone who has a set of skills that are very precisely prescribed, like a full stack application developer, you're going to want to put in what have you used? What are you expert at? Because the recruiter is probably looking for exactly that. They're looking for a full stack application developer who is strong in SQL. Putting that right up in the headline area is going to give the recruiter the confidence that you're the one they're looking for. If you have a broader set of skills and responsibilities, then you have to show what your value was or where you are most valuable in an organization. So maybe a project manager specializing in international business expansion and manufacturing. In accounting, increasing productivity in highly regulated industries. The higher you are in an organization, the more it has to be a sentence that indicates value. Raise satisfaction scores. Having numbers is huge. Innovating customer satisfaction one experience at a time. Not everybody needs to have a list of skill after their title. Sometimes it needs to be utilizing X to achieve Y. There's a value statement there that indicates how you're impacting the organization. And there are innumerable skills that are associated with being able to do that. But the higher you are in an organization, the more it needs to be a value statement. Verification is one of the newer features of LinkedIn, and it's in response to the number of scammers who have been out there on LinkedIn and on all social media. There are people who are not real. They are either AI constructs, they are fake people who are looking possibly to scam people, but being able to ensure that you have that check mark by your name that indicates that the government or a company has verified that you are indeed a real person is going to be a huge part of the recruiter's ability to look at you. They're not going to look at the people as closely if they don't have that check mark, because they don't know if this is somebody who is a combination of several people that have been amalgamated into one profile. As you are working with people on LinkedIn, you should be prioritizing people who have that check mark, because that check mark says they're real. If you're connecting with a recruiter, make sure they have the check mark. If you are networking with people within an organization, that check mark means that they really are there.
And
You can own,
I believe if you're going to get the check mark, you do need to use your cell phone, because you will need to take a picture of your driver license or a copy of your passport. So you probably need to do it on a mobile application.
and that's not particularly clear on LinkedIn. If you're on LinkedIn on your computer, it does not say, please go to your phone and do this. But yes, only your phone can do it. We quite often get asked about, when do I close out my most recent job? When do I put an end date there? And it shows that you're no longer employed at that company. It is an honest way of saying, I am no longer employed. And generally, after 2 to 3 months after your last work date, it's about time to close that out. But there are two choices once you do close out your time at the company. And one is to add a career break. LinkedIn created the career break so you could say, I'm unemployed and this is the reason. So it's a gap, but it's an explainable gap as to whether you are in the midst of a transition, whether you are relocating, whether you're traveling. It's been a nice thing to have to fill in some of the pieces in your earlier jobs where you had more than 3 months a gap, put in a career break. Your other choice, though, is to add in a placeholder job. And the placeholder job puts in all kinds of titles that you're interested in next. Separate them with a pipe that is the separator that LinkedIn prefers for their algorithm. But you can put as many titles here as you want. And a title in the most recent job is a very strong indicator for the LinkedIn algorithm that you are capable of doing that in your next job. So you have to make sure that you are not saying that you are currently employed by a company. So putting in something that says actively seeking my next opportunity, or putting in a company hashtag open to work, allows the recruiter to see that this is not a real job. You are looking for a new position, but you want to keep the information local. You want to keep it up to date. When the recruiter is doing a search for skills on the LinkedIn recruiter software, they can check a box that says only look for these skills in the most recent job that someone has. So I know that they're probably good at doing it, and they are probably using the most recent version of it. They don't want somebody who is using Excel 10 years ago. They want somebody who's using Excel today in their current job. If you have a career break, you're saying that you're unemployed, and the algorithm is going to skip your profile altogether because you don't have a current job. But if you created a placeholder job that says, my current job is looking for a job, but here are all the skills, here are all of the activities, the values that I've had, putting those in a placeholder job allows the algorithm to find you. And if you don't have anything at all after you have turned off the date for your last company, then you're unemployed and the algorithm is going to skip you then too. So once you close out your most recent job, you've got three choices. Leave it as is, and you'll never be found by LinkedIn. Adding a career break, which is moderately interesting, but you'll never be found by LinkedIn. Or creating that placeholder job, at which point you're saying, I'm looking for a job and here are the skills and activities that make me eligible for the job that you're looking at. So keep that one in mind. The other thing that you can do to become more visible to recruiters is to take the titles that you've had in your jobs and expand them out to include more titles. Companies will give you a title that might not say what you actually do, and you may need to translate that title into the titles that are more detailed about what you did and might reflect the jobs that you want next. So in my LinkedIn profile, career consultant is what Lee Heck Harrison gave me as a title, but it's also known as a career coach in the um, just in the business world. So I put both of them in there, separated them by a pope to say it is the same thing. But having both names in there makes me more visible when a recruiter is searching for one versus the other. In the previous role, the title that I had was Senior Manager of Training and Development, had 12 people reporting to me across 5 different sites. Our goal during a big part of this role was to move classroom training into e-learning so that it could be done consistently across sites and it could be standardized. During that time, I learned enough to be able to say that I could be an instructional designer. I could be an e-learning developer. You wouldn't have been able to translate this title into those 2 other titles. So I have to put that on the title line to say, if you're looking for an instructional designer, I've got an immense amount of experience. So I'm putting the title up there to indicate that I should be considered for those types of roles. You should always use the titles that LinkedIn standardized. LinkedIn says that there are 6,000 titles that they have standardized. Recruiters use those titles in their search, and an exact match or a near exact match is going to give you an advantage over people who have something that the company created that was completely outrageous and fun and creative, but no other company has that title. So if you had a title of Chief Disruptor, nobody else is going to have that. Translate that. Put in parentheses what you actually did. Senior Change Management. So make sure that you're using the titles that LinkedIn has standardized and the recruiters are using in order to find you. Now, the Spotlight feature, this is where you're telling the recruiter that you're interested in their company. And it's one that we'll have to move into LinkedIn in order to take a closer look at. The background picture that I have here is a happy place. I like donuts. This is the last week of school in this area, and it seems like there's donuts for dad, donuts for mom, donuts for teachers on all the bulletin boards. So I put donuts there. You don't need a donut if you're looking for a job. There's 3 different types of backgrounds that you can have here. Mine is a happy place. Yours needs to be a branded picture. What is your reputation? What is your industry? What is your job? There are a lot of sites out there that offer free rectangular pictures just for this. So find something that is going to give a recruiter the idea of this is what this person does just by a visual. Your third choice on a background picture in LinkedIn is to have a quote. And a quote can be your management style, your philosophy of life, the advice that you give people who are coming up in an organization. You just have to be able to put it in there so that it is readable, and that if there is somebody who should be attributed to that quote, that you put their name in there too. Not always easy to find something that will fit that rectangle, but it can be done. Or you can go to a place like canva.com and create one of your own. But background picture is going to be important because people assume things based on that picture. We were talking about in our experience section, making sure that when you're adding, you could either do a career break, in which case you would take one of these. I'm unemployed, but this is why. Or you go into the plus and you add a role in which you put in as many titles as you can fit in there You do need to have that company, and being able to have open to work. Several people have put in open to work fake companies out onto LinkedIn. You can use those, or you can just say open to work, looking for my ideal job. Let it go at that. Okay. But we're talking about how to tell recruiters that you're interested in their company. Somebody shout out a company that they're targeting, or put it in chat.
Caterpillar.
Fisher Financial.
Caterpillar was the first.
American Heart Association.
I can spell that. Okay. As you type in, it is going to show you the different versions of it. You're going to go for a company, and let's go with this top one. It'll give you a box that says, here we go. You're going to just click on that box. It will take you to the LinkedIn page for this company. LinkedIn allows companies to create a page on their platform, and it gives information that is more associated with networking, LinkedIn. First thing you do is you need to follow it. When you follow a company, the recruiter can see that, and it means that you want to hear information about the company dropped into your home page. So in your home page, and you say that you're following that company, you're going to see more information about new activities, about maybe some financial information, about some special actions that are coming out in the marketplace. Following is a good indication that I'm available, I'm here. Then you're going to go into the About section here. And in the About section, there's going to be often a box that says, are you interested in working with us? Well, yeah, you're going to say, I'm interested. There's no limit to the number of companies that you can tell that you're interested in working for them. There used to be a limit of 20 that's been removed. Every company you're looking at, every company you're targeting, every company you dream of joining, tell them you're interested. Not every company has this, but most of them do. What that does is it tells the recruiter, not only are you interested in the company, but now you're interested also in joining it. You're not just looking for information based on the financials or the investment opportunities. Next, you're going to go into the People tab. And in the People tab, LinkedIn is going to tell you, in this case, that there are 11,393 employees who have a LinkedIn profile. One of the key ways that recruiters are interested in you is if you know and are connected to somebody in their company. They assume that you know a little bit more about the culture, about the products, and are probably going to be more interested in an interview and in staying a longer period of time with the company. It gives you some information, and you've got a couple lists here: where they live, where they studied. What they do tells you what department they work in. That can be a good way to start narrowing it down. What they're skilled at and what they studied, I haven't found much use for those, but how you're connected. You've got a lot of people in your network that you just don't know where they are today. You may have worked with them at one time, but people change jobs all the time. So being able to come to this last list and saying, I do have people here. If you click on that, here they are for me. If I am looking for a job at the American Heart Association, I am going to contact these folks and say, I've applied for this role. I'm interested in moving into this area because of my skills in this. Would you feel comfortable recommending me to the hiring manager or the recruiter? Internal recommendations are huge. If I don't have anybody who is a first degree, then I'm probably going to have to take a look closer at the second degree connections. The second degree connections will give you the opportunity to say, I am applying for a role in the American Heart Association. How do you like working there? Let's connect. If you feel like you need a stronger push because this person might be in the same department or might be well positioned to champion you, you can say, I've applied for this role at the American Heart Association. I understand that the company pays a bonus to people who recommend folks who are eventually hired. Would you like me to use your name? At which point, if they say, yes, let's connect, and yes, use my name, I want that $200 bonus, then they'll be more likely to connect you to the recruiter, the hiring manager, or at least send a recommendation to them. As you're taking a look at people, sometimes you know more specifically where the office is that's going to be doing the recruiting. So let's say that you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and you want to find somebody to connect to because got to connect with someone. You can put in your own title and find people who are similar to you and say, I'm improving my LinkedIn profile by connecting to people who are in this industry or who have similar titles to mine. Would love to connect and share experiences. But for general, who's most likely to connect to you, it's probably going to be a recruiter. Recruiters quite often are going to be on LinkedIn looking for people who could be a positive interviewer. And you're going to go down and you're going to take a look and see if anybody's got a purple hashtag hiring. And none of them do. Too bad. When you type in recruiter, LinkedIn is going to give you everybody who is currently a recruiter and everybody who has ever been a recruiter. So sometimes you'll have to sort through these people and say, probably not a recruiter anymore, had it in their background, but probably are not going to be the people that are worth connecting to. And let's say we decide recruiting manager would be a good person to have. Never use a white connect button to send a message to a recruiter. If you're on a computer, laptop, or an iPad, the white connect button is going to send an automatic, I'd like to be part of your network. And that doesn't give you an awful lot of oomph or interest by the recruiter. Click on their title or their name and go to the blue connect button that is in their profile page. A blue connect button will be able to give you personalization. I applied for this role because of my extensive experience in this, would love to discuss. Let's connect. So finding the people who are able to be of value to you, be able to connect with you, are going to be important. Sometimes you're going to have to send out several before you find somebody who's going to connect with you, but it's going to be an indicator to the recruiter that you've given the amount of attention that you need in order to find people within the company. The other thing that you can do in order to connect to people is that if you went to the University of North Texas, there's 78 people who attended the University of North Texas. The reason that these other colleges are here is that they attended the University of North Texas, but they also attended other schools too. But let's take a look at the 78 people here and being able, and here's a hashtag hiring. Yay. Anytime you can see this purple hashtag hiring, it means that the person is comfortable with LinkedIn and is looking at LinkedIn in order to find candidates that are well positioned for a role that they have. This is somebody that you're going to want to contact. I am applying for this role. Give the details on it as much as possible. My experience is this. Would love to talk. Let's connect. But since this is a person who also attended the University of North Texas, your request to them can be, I see you also attended UNT. I enjoyed my time there. I've applied for this role. because of my extensive background in this, let's connect. But being able to connect by talking about the school that you attended is going to be a huge plus, because the alumni associations, even if you're not a member of the alumni association, it still says something that you have in common. And LinkedIn is all about, let's find something in common so that we can connect and exchange ideas. Okay, so far on all of that. Okay. So when you have a company that you are interested in, you're going to go on to their LinkedIn page. You're going to follow the company. Just click the button. Click on the About section to show that you're interested in working with a company, and then connect to a couple of the people in the People section. That brings you up to the top of a recruiter list every time. Visibility is going to be important, and visibility on LinkedIn means that you are active on LinkedIn, which means that 3 times a week you hit that enter button. And it can be either because you have commented on somebody's post, you've created a post by yourself, you have looked for a job, you have added another skill to your profile, you have reworded your about section. 3 times a week minimum, you need to do something on LinkedIn. If you don't, then LinkedIn starts assuming that you are not as interested in the job search, and they start pulling you down from the top of recruiter search. So be active, keep on different areas, and make sure that you are engaged in LinkedIn. LinkedIn is also going to age the information that you have. And the biggest area that is being aged is that hashtag open to work. After 2 months, it assumes that if you haven't found a job by now, you're probably not looking anymore. And 2 months is way too early for that. But once a month, you should turn off your hashtag open to work and turn it back on again. It's like a light switch. You don't need to wait overnight or anything else. Turn it off, turn it back on. But that's going to be one that can age and be less visible to recruiters. So let's talk about job search in general on LinkedIn. On the Jobs tab, you're able to look for jobs. And this is a great place for professionals to be looking for jobs. You're going to put in information at the top of the tab that says, here's a title I'm looking for, here are the skills that I have, here's the industry, here's the location. You're going to use and, the capital A, capital N, capital D, between each set of information. And you're going to use the not, capital N, capital O, capital T, to take out things that you don't want. And LinkedIn allows you to have up to 20 different searches. So being able to create the ideal job each time is going to be a real plus for you. So when you're on your LinkedIn profile, and let's go, and you're in the Jobs tab, describe the job you want. You're going to describe the ideal job. Some people start off just with a title and they'll sort through because they think that they can move in any industry, that they can talk through any skills. You don't want to do that. You want to say, I want the job that I am highly qualified for. I'm going to be a top candidate. So let's say that we want a senior project manager and then double quotes, financial services industry, end quotes, and risk management. And agile, and let's say JIRA also. In Dallas, Texas. the more information you put here, the easier it is for LinkedIn to be able to find the ideal job and for you to see the jobs that you are the highest qualified person for, because you put so much information in here. You have a list, and normally LinkedIn is going to give you a list in the order of how closely this job matches to the information that you have in your profile. The more information you have in your profile, the easier it is for LinkedIn to be able to match to jobs. So put as much information as possible. However, on this jobs list, LinkedIn will put those jobs that were promoted by the hirer above everything else. And that's because promoted by hirer means that this company paid LinkedIn to bring it to the top of your job search because they are looking to fill the job from the outside. If you are 80% qualified, they want to hear from you, and they are moving fast. So anytime you see promoted by hirer, you might not have the exact set of skills that you're looking for, but oh my gosh, you know that it's a real job. And we know that about 20% of the jobs out there on a job board are really ghost jobs. They are jobs that have been posted because the company feels that they are obligated to, but they've already offered the job to somebody internal who has been promoted into that role. And it's hard to change your resume, get a cover letter, send it off, and boom, get a rejection that quickly. It generally means that it was never going to be looking for somebody from the outside. It's a shame that that still happens, but so be it. So if you're taking a look through this list and you say, these are pretty good, except I do not, well, let's go to the end of this. I'm going to say I don't want a PMP requirement because I don't have one. That might change the list. So using the and to increase the number of skills, the not to take out the things that you don't want anymore are going to be a way of finding the job that you are most qualified for. Now, LinkedIn is going to help you on this. It is going to give you some additional things that you could put in here to increase the your search. And maybe in this case, I want to say that I want program management to be part of it. I'm going to change it a little bit. Anytime you get to the point where you think these are good jobs, I could consider most of these on the list, you're going to create a job alert. In your job alert, you're just going to turn this on, and every time a job that has all of these requirements here comes onto LinkedIn, they'll let you know. LinkedIn allows you to have up to 20 of these, and it's going to be important to use as many as you feel are going to give you a chance of being the top candidate. After we have something here that says that you are in Dallas, we're going to take that out, and we're going to say, I only want remote jobs now. This will be a second job alert, because now instead of being home office in Dallas, you're saying I'm looking at anything that is remote, different set of information. Notice you've got that shield with a check mark inside of it by the jobs. That's an indication by the company that it is a real job. Not every company is doing that, so if it doesn't have that, it's not necessarily a problem, but it's best if you see that shield. It's real. Okay, and how we're doing job searches these days. Not many questions so far. Are you using artificial intelligence in your job search? You should. Do not let artificial intelligence take over your job search completely, because there are too many ways that people can tell that you're using AI and you're not being genuine. But there are a couple of things to know about artificial intelligence. One of them is that there are a lot of them out there. You got ChatGPT, you've got Claude, you've got Copilot, you got a whole bunch out there. And you've got a real danger of looking unreal. If you look at output from AI and it's got a lot of adjectives and adverbs, those just aren't used in business writing. Take those out. AI quite often has really long sentences. And in public speaking and in business writing, sentences are always shorter. If you have unusual words or phrases that you haven't seen before, I work at the intersection of technology and operations. Nobody uses intersection. It was fun the first time you saw it, but now it's on a heck of a lot of LinkedIn profiles and it looks artificial now. If you think this is going to look identical to everyone else, yeah, AI is only going to give back what you give to it. And if you say, here are 2 jobs that I'm interested in, write a resume, it's going to write the same resume for the next person who has that same request. So be careful about that. But it is really, really useful for identifying where your impact should be higher, where you should have a number or a metric, some results that are going to showcase what you did, how you did it. So looking at it in that sense, that can be a distinguishing characteristic. So if you're using outside AI, which is the things you would use on your computer just in general, it's very good at identifying business impact. It's very good at telling what your strategic value would be for a company, and you should use those in order to work that into your interview answers, your resume, your cover letters. If you're using the AI that LinkedIn has, and you can only use LinkedIn AI if you have premium, but if you have premium and you're using AI, they say that it will provide some job search suggestions, help you create some messaging, gives you some personalization, gives you some content and engagement. Bottom line, though, is that AI in LinkedIn is different from AI outside of LinkedIn. AI inside LinkedIn is only looking to make your profile algorithm friendly. It is not looking to show more results or providing metrics or being able to talk about your strategic value. All it's going to do is say, I'm looking at this vast amount of information about how recruiters are using LinkedIn, how they are choosing people. I'm going to help you get chosen. So it can be good for the algorithm, but once a human being takes a look at your profile, it might not be as interesting as if you had used a ChatGPT, a Claude, a Copilot. Did that make sense? You might need to use both if you're using a lot of AI to help you out. Is anybody using LinkedIn AI?
Some.
Not a,
I use it some.
okay. Are you happy with the results?
Yes. For the most part, yes.
Okay, excellent. I was hoping that would be the answer because you do want your AI to be giving you solid information.
I'm
Bill,
using Copilot Plus.
and
It's a very
how's that
high
working?
level computer. It's really good because you get the results quickly. If you have one of the very high end laptops, you don't have to pay any fees for it, and it's as good as you want to put in. And you can go back and see prior searches, and it updates it, and even sends you stuff during the day. It's pretty good.
Nice. Excellent information there. Anybody else using AI?
I just recently started doing using AI to try to enhance my LinkedIn. I did have a question as far as scoring with LinkedIn. What I'm trying to do is just identify gaps with my resume and how LinkedIn is showing. But I'm also trying to use AI to just look through my LinkedIn and tell me Does this make sense? Does it flow? Things of that nature. Is there some kind of a scoring, like what you said at the very beginning, as far as being active in LinkedIn? Is there a scoring as far as how things looked, how much you're liking comments or doing posts as far as part of that scoring?
There is a way that LinkedIn shows you how effective you've been, and that's going to be in your analytics. Your analytics say, here's a number of people who have looked at you. Here are the number of searches that you came up with. If you do not have a strong LinkedIn profile, if you are not active on LinkedIn, that number is going to be really low. It'll be under 10 because LinkedIn just, you're ignoring me, I'm ignoring you. As you get more active, as you start posting, commenting, job searching, updating, this number is going to increase. And as long as you see this increasing, you're doing it right. But that's the only way LinkedIn is going to tell you whether you're effective.
Is there a total, like in search appearances you're targeting for, or profile views to know that you're on the right track to be maybe seen more often?
That's a tough one because it depends on what job title you're looking for. If it is something that is an unusual or a niche job or a very high level job, you might not have many search appearances because there aren't that many jobs out there or there's not a need for that many. If you are in a job that is has a high turnover, then you're probably going to be up around 40 or 50. If you are really active, you could be over 50. But the number is not as important as is the trajectory going in the direction that you want it to? Is this number keeping increasing? And that's where you're really looking for it. If you think that you are not getting the search appearances that you should, you can always double check by going into this public profile and URL. And at some point, some people turn off their visibility to recruiters. And having all of these in the green so that you're allowing people to see your information is going to be important because sometimes if you've got this turned off, people aren't able to find you. So keep that open.
Georgia asks, can recruiters see your job search alert filters?
No, they cannot. They don't care. All they care is the information that you've got on your profile page, what information you're talking about yourself, what skills you've got, what you've done in your previous jobs, maybe what projects you've worked on. If you have any volunteer information, they're going to scroll down and see what you have through here in order to be able to assess, are you somebody that would fit into our organization? But they can't see any searches that you've done or any previous versions of your LinkedIn profile.
Wendy asked, how do you delete previous job alerts so you can add a new one?
Oh, good one. Go into the Jobs tab again. And on the left-hand side, you've got Preferences. And in your Preferences area, when you click on that, here it shows what job alerts you have. Follow the arrow, and it will show you each one of the up to 20 different alerts that you have. You can take a look and see which one this is. If you don't think this is a good search anymore, you can delete the job alert altogether.
Great, thank you very much.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Sure.
As far as I'm still stuck on the engagement and things like that when it comes to LinkedIn. Do recruiters care I'm not big on posting a whole bunch of things. I know people post, hey, this is what I'm going through for job searches, or hey, this is a good fact, or things of that nature. I want to keep it more so job related, but as far as LinkedIn itself, engagement, as long as I'm checking the like for different things or maybe add a comment, is it hurting me that I'm not doing a full post myself?
No, it really doesn't. However, when you're on the home page and you're taking a look and you're saying that you're going to like something, that gives you no points at all. LinkedIn put that in because all of the other social medias had it. They hate it, but they put it in because they felt that they needed to be similar to other of the social media sites. If you want to bring up your score for LinkedIn, you're going to comment. And in your comment, it has to be a minimum of 12 words. If you just say, thank you, or I agree, that is not continuing a conversation. LinkedIn thinks that's a pretty poor way of responding to somebody who did some work. Being able to say, I agree with you. I've seen this quite a bit in my work environment. I wish more people understood this as you did. 12 or more words, LinkedIn adores that because you're carrying on a conversation. You might be adding in new information, even. You might be disagreeing with something that engages even more people to talk back and forth. But just liking, no, don't do that. But if you could do this 3 times a week, along with the other work that you're doing on job searches, then you don't need to be posting your own information. And LinkedIn has recently tried to start sorting out the oh, poor me type of posts. I've been in a job search. I am horribly disappointed. They're that they don't have enough information in there. That belongs on Facebook. That belongs on other social media, but it doesn't belong on a professional networking site. So the posts are really pushing to be more professional, sharing information, sharing best practices, providing information on new activities, thought management are going to be more important. So the ones that were more, my daughter just had her 3rd birthday. Look how cute she is. LinkedIn is not going to give much credence to that, and is certainly not going to give any points to your profile score.
And the other nice thing is if you comment on somebody that you're following, that person is usually going to see what you post. So if you post something intelligent, there's a good chance you may get start a conversation between the poster and yourself.
Okay, let's go back here. We got a couple more things to take a look at. When you are using AI and you want AI to ask a question, if you want them to evaluate something, the first thing you do in artificial intelligence is you identify who you want AI to work as. If you don't identify what you want them to act as and be, this is the individual I want you to provide information to, it will just give you 6th grade level information. But if you say that you want it to act as an award-winning career coach with over 20 years of experience and helping people find information, then ask it to do something, that will give you a much stronger set of information that is normally going to be much more unique. If you don't ask it to act on behalf of a certain type of expertise, you're not going to get much back. Or you can act as a LinkedIn algorithm. You can ask the AI outside of LinkedIn to act as the LinkedIn algorithm to maximize the visibility of my profile. Make sure you give AI as much information as you possibly can, because it's going to use it. Or you can say act as a recruiter with massive experience who is trying to find the right person, and then ask it to evaluate something. But it's always more effective to tell AI what type of information you're looking for and put as much information as possible there. Now, when you're looking for things that are for your LinkedIn About section, you can say, here are 3 job postings that I'm interested in. I'm well qualified. Whenever you say no response needed, you're not going to get any feedback. You're just setting things up so that you don't have one massively long piece of information that you lose track of. So here are the 3 job postings I like. Here's my resume. Provide suggestions as to what will improve my ability to be one of the top 20 candidates, and use an X to show where a metric will improve my story. Metrics are going to be important because they elevate you from somebody who's saying, I have these skills, to now being the person who says, I have this skill and here is how I used it, and here's how I added value to a company as a result of it. And then you can say, create a brand new resume, but always put in, don't make up information, because all of the AI tends to be very helpful. You're a wonderful person. What an insightful question that was. And they will make up information based on those original 3 job postings to make you more noticeable. Yeah, that's not good. Then you can ask it to suggest LinkedIn headlines because they can do that too. Ask them to write an about section. Make sure you limit the about section request, because the about section is actually 2,600 characters deep, but 1,800 should be all you need. AI tends to give way too much information. Long sentences, repetition. Make sure that it is shorter and more succinct and more readable. Scammers are out there on LinkedIn, on all social media. If they have a recently created profile and they say they're a recruiter, that could be a problem. If it looks as if it is a fake picture, a headshot, if they have history that looks like it's kind of a mishmash of all different things and the dates aren't right, and if a recruiter doesn't have many connections, red flag. If they claim to be a recruiter for a company, but they're not using the company email and they're not listed on the company LinkedIn page under people, then that's probably a problem. They're probably acting as a recruiter. They want to get your information. They could be using it for financial reasons, or they could be saying, you are a highly qualified candidate, but you're not going to pass our applicant tracking system with that resume. Let me send you to a person who will be able to rewrite your resume for you. It is only $300. You'll never get an answer from them. So careful on those. Language patterns, if they start pushing really hard, get back with me immediately. If they don't say anything about what the job is, who the hiring manager is, if they won't do an interview except on chat, if they're asking for personal information and you get a job offer so fast, that's not real. And if they try and push you off LinkedIn quickly into other sites, and they won't share an email that has a company name on it, walk away from it or report it. And just some statistics at the end that might be of interest. Thought you might like those. Okay, questions. You've had some good ones.
Any questions from anybody?
I like to comment. This was a very informative LinkedIn Tuesday today.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I have a question that I put in the chat. But anyway, is it easy for me to add a new quote unquote company? If I'm an LLC or whatever, into LinkedIn?
Oh, having your own LLC is great. Being able to put in that you have started your own company, maybe it is a consulting company or something, indicates that you are a strong technical person, or you have strong skills that are worth it in the industry in general. Companies recruiters like seeing that.
Okay. And how would you add that in the work section? Can you, because it'd be a new company.
It'll be a brand new company,
Okay.
and you will just go into your experience section. Come on. Went right down to the bottom, didn't it? Add your new role, and your title is going to be whatever you want there.
Okay.
But your company or organization is going to be Rhodes Enterprises, LLC, or something of
Okay.
that sort.
Okay.
But then be sure to put in information in your description that indicates what you're doing, what services you are capable of offering, and put as much information in the description area. You got 2,000 characters here. You got plenty of room to put things in.
Okay. Great. And can you add the logo as well or not?
You cannot add a logo unless you buy a company page. The only
Okay.
times a logo will come in is if it can be drawn from a company page within LinkedIn.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you again. You spoke on it a little bit before when you talked about having multiple people refer you. So is there, when you go in, I click on and follow the company. So I'm following the company, get the about, read, have a little bit of research on the company itself. When you're reaching out to someone to refer you, you're just doing one person. Can multiple refer you? Is there good and bad? And then as far as having the number of employees that you're following or you're connected to, is it good to have 2 or 3, more the merrier? Just want to make sure I'm staying in the right and left of where I'm supposed to be.
If you don't have anybody that you know in that company, then asking 3 people to connect with you that you think you have a pretty good chance of connecting with is probably all you can afford, because you don't have unlimited number of messages that you can send unless you're in a group. And if you're in a group, then you have unlimited connection requests. But pick out maybe 3 people and connect with them, but know that you're going to run out of connection requests. But what's your job title, Joe? You're on mute now.
Cybersecurity engineer.
Okay, cybersecurity. If we're taking a look at an industry or a field, you go to the groups area, and in the groups, it will give you all of the groups on LinkedIn that are associated with that type of activity. And as you take a look at each one of them, you're going to be looking to see if it's an active group. About 95% of the groups on LinkedIn are now dead. There's nobody there to post. Nobody wants to join them. Make sure it's an active group. And this is a huge one, 318,000. You're going to join the group, and you will be going through a gatekeeper who is going to look at your LinkedIn profile and say, do you belong in this community? And once they send it back that you can join it and that you're a member now, then you can take a look at all the people who are in the group and sort them out by what companies do I want to be part of. And you can start sending out your messages, unlimited number of messages, to the people within this group who are in the companies that you want to be part of.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and when you are in a group, let me get back in here. Quite often, they're not going to tell you that you have been approved for that group. It is just going to show up down at the bottom in your interest area, where you're going to see groups, you'll suddenly be part of these groups. And it might be down at the bottom or it might be at the top. Not sure when that's going to come up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
I sent
All right.
I
Well,
sent a DM inside of the Zoom for you as well.
Ah,
great. Ruth, thank you very, very much. Great information. Everybody's a lot of comments in the chat window about great presentation. This is Ruth's non-donut LinkedIn banner. She changes it every couple months, so every time it's always new, and it's worth doing. I mean, it's it's inviting, it's something to talk about when a recruiter calls you up. So if you want to reach out to Ruth, you're welcome to do so. Just tell her you saw her here today at this presentation. Next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. How to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. He does not allow this session to be recorded, so if you want to watch Terry, you will need to watch him live next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Tomorrow, the practice interview team is meeting in person. They meet in person on the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month. They meet at Christ United Methodist Church from 1 to 3 o'clock. That's at Coit and Parker in Plano. For those who live in Dallas, come watch a practice interview. You will learn a lot just by watching somebody else being interviewed and the questions they get that they ask. If you live outside the DFW area, check out the Interviewing Wednesday link that goes to the USA YouTube channel, and you can watch one of the 13-part workshop to help you in your job search. This Friday is the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. Dr. Jenny Gray will be with us to talk about dysfunctional thinking through the in-transition journey. So we're going to mess with your mind a little bit. Come watch us and join us 9:30 Friday morning. You can join us in person or on Zoom. You're welcome to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups. We've got over 16,300 members in the Career DFW group. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join that group, but I will look at your profile. And if your profile is not mostly complete, I'm going to wonder, why do you want to join a group if you're not promoting who you are? So take some time, get your profile to complete, and then you can join either of the groups that you want. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel. You're welcome to subscribe to the channel. That way, every time we post a new video, you'll find out about it. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. Every video I post goes into one of 7 different playlists. And then down at the very bottom where you see that red arrow, click on view full playlist, and up will come a list in chronological order with the speaker and the topic that they were talking about, and you go back and watch any of those videos at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join our mailing list, just scan this QR code and send a blank email, or send a blank email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You'll never be spammed because I control the list, but I will put out meeting information as things are going out, and they'll have links in those in the emails that go out. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 17 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today. Ruth, once again, thank you very, very much. Everybody have a great Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you later in the week.
Thank you again.